everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Northisle. My name is Scott. My name is
Hello, my name's Tim Livesey, and I'm the Chief Executive of Oriole Resources plc. Excuse the background noise. I'm recording this from our operations base in Yaoundé in Cameroon. Although we're a London-based and listed company, trading under ORR on the AIM markets, our main focus of activities is out here in Cameroon, where we're exploring for gold predominantly. We have a suite of licenses here. Our largest package in what we call the Central License Package, or the CLP, is 8 licenses covering 3,500 square kilometres. We were granted those licenses in February last year, and we've moved aggressively with early stage exploration in this area, which is previously underexplored or unexplored, should I say, for gold. No formal licensing to our knowledge in this area prior to our applications in 2019. We've moved forward with extensive stream sediment sampling, geological mapping, regolith mapping, and soil sampling. And out of the 8 licenses, we've concentrated on the 5 easternmost licenses in the easier to access topography. And on those 5 licenses, we've identified to date in excess of 6 gold in soil anomalies, the largest of which is 13 kilometres in length. Now, this is really significant for us. We're targeting this area as the potential for multiple deposits or mineral resources of orogenic gold. And this early work that we've done in the last 2 years has certainly supported that concept. And we're just moving back into the dry season now, so we're mobilizing crews in at the moment to continue that work and ultimately to deliver a suite of drill-ready targets for orogenic gold in that central license package. The potential here is a new mining district. Cameroon has been very, very overlooked in the past for exploration, and the opportunity to take absolute greenfields and progress it through to project stage it's wide open. We've been operating here for 4 years. Our other licenses in the north of the country at Bibemi and Wapuzi, we've actually been able to progress one of those through to a JORC exploration target stage, which we're currently converting over before the end of the year from an exploration target into a JORC inferred resource. Now, the exploration target numbers on that Bekassi Zone 1 target within the Bibemi license came back at 290,000 to 440,000 ounces of gold at between 1.5 and 1.7 grams per tonne. Now, obviously, we need to convert that across, put a pit shell on it, and have our independent resource geologists do the site visit, carry out the competent person's checklists. That's, as I say, underway at the moment, and we hope to have that absolutely sort of ratified and verified and publish a final, or rather not a final, but a maiden JORC inferred resource on the Bibemi Bekassi Zone 1 target before the end of the year. Now, that's not the only story for Bibemi. We have 3 other prospects within striking distance of that Bekassi Zone 1, within literally less than 5 kilometres of it. And those target areas, those are the 3 target areas, have seen a limited amount of prospect drilling, but there's opportunity on each one of those 3 areas to add additional ounces. The Bekassi Zone 1 resource it's our maiden resource in Cameroon. It's actually the first, to our knowledge, it's the first JORC inferred resource to be published in Cameroon, or it will be when it comes out before the end of the year. And also, it's still open-ended. We have open along strike to the northeast, and we have open at depth. We've just taken it from surface down to 200 metres at this stage, the current depths of our drill campaigns. So, big focus on Cameroon, gold in Cameroon specifically, early stage, grassroots, generative targeting, and grassroots follow-up. Boots on the ground geology, very economical programs, but when we do see an opportunity, as we've done at Bibemi on the Bekassi Zone 1, we progress very quickly through a drill-out stage to deliver resources. And we've done that at Bibemi. That drill-out took less than 19 months from the drill arriving on site to the delivery of this maiden JORC exploration target and what will be the JORC inferred resource. So we are very competent, experienced geological teams. We have also the assets up in Senegal, where IAMGOLD are investing on our Sonala license to the tune of $8 million to earn a maximum of 70%. Some great results come out of the north of that target, up at that license, up at Fare target. But in a nutshell, just to wrap up, we are here on the ground. We're operating as first movers in a new jurisdiction, a new area for gold exploration. We've been here for 4 years. We have some great connections, great partnerships, great relationships with the communities and the governments over here. And we're starting to see a lot of people coming in behind us now that we've opened the door. So keep an eye on Cameroon. Please keep an eye on Oriole Resources, ORR ticker, and reach out through our website, orioleresources.co.uk, and feel free to contact any of the management team through the relevant page on the website. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tim Marsh. I'm President and CEO of Bell Copper Corporation. Bell is a Canadian public mineral exploration company focusing on copper exploration in the great state of Arizona. We're traded on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the symbol BCU. We're also traded in the U.S. under the OTCQB exchange symbol BCUFF. We picked Arizona as the best jurisdiction in the world to explore for copper because we think it's where the next giant copper discoveries will be made. We believe at this early stage we've actually found one of those. We've gone where nobody has gone before. We're not drilling under a head frame. We're not twinning somebody else's holes. And we've found a very significant intersection of copper in Arizona. We've got 2 projects, one called Perseverance near Kingman, Arizona. It's under option currently to a Robert Friedland company, Cordoba Minerals, who's doing all the work, spending the money, and getting good encouragement that there's another discovery to be made there. But in the meantime, Bell has been operating our 100% owned Big Sandy project nearby in Arizona, about 30 kilometers to the south. We've gone where nobody went before, not under the head frame, not twinning somebody else's holes. And if the world is going to make a transition to clean electrical energy, we need a lot more of the metal copper. This stuff right here, you need hundreds of pounds of it in every electrical car, lots of it connecting your wind and solar farms to the grid. We need a lot more copper. So Bell had an idea that these porphyry copper deposits in the mountains of Arizona have been cut by faults, and that the best part of those systems, the tops, are buried under gravel in the valley bottoms. So we staked Perseverance. We went out and staked Big Sandy, and we've made a discovery at Big Sandy. This is some of the stuff behind me that we found. We started drilling with a big tricone bit like that, switched over to core. Here's some of the gravel. You see the pieces in it. The pieces in it are pieces of a porphyry copper deposit. And then we found these rocks here. So more than a kilometer under the gravel, we started finding rocks like this. This is copper and iron sulfide. You see the shiny stuff in there is copper and iron sulfide minerals. This is porphyry. This is the stuff where copper comes from. Another example of what we found. And not only did we discover this stuff, but we sent it into a metallurgical laboratory to have the copper concentrated, have the molybdenum concentrated, and what the laboratory found and made for us were packets of copper sulfide. This is a copper sulfide concentrate from our Big Sandy discovery. That is concentrate that any smelter in the world would love to have dumped into it to make some new copper. So we found the stuff that makes the copper world turn. We went looking for an elephant. I'll show you over here what we found and where we need to go. This is a cross section showing our Big Sandy property. It's our discovery hole BS3, went down through over a kilometer of gravel, like the core sample I showed you, and then into a rock nobody had seen before, porphyry, that looks just like the bottom that we could see over in mountains near our property. For scale, here's the largest excavation ever made by man. Took 120 years to dig it. It's the Bingham Canyon pit. The value that they found at Bingham Canyon, this volume here, has lasted 120 years. The thing that Bell Copper is exploring, this volume here, is at least equal in size to what's been found at Bingham. Our drill intersection BS3, once it got through the gravel, cut 200 meters of 0.42% copper. Any copper miner in the Arizona today would be happy to be putting 0.42% copper through their mill and getting the copper out. This is a very nice mineralized intersection, followed by 530 meters of weakly mineralized copper pyrite molybdenum material that says we just drilled 830 meters, a half a mile of the skin of an elephant. Here's the elephant. That's the thing we need to find. We drilled over here 2.3 kilometers away, saw some little leaks of copper mineralization, but we didn't find the big one. The big one is we've got bracketed between these holes, we believe, and it's a scale that's about as big as anything out there to be found. This is the thing we're looking for. We've permitted this whole BS4 and 9 others just like it to test this intervening ground. We're looking for a globally significant mineral discovery. It's about the best story out there in terms of copper exploration. We know it's real. We've got it in the Corp right now. We just need to show the good stuff is there. We've just announced a private placement financing. You can get the details on our website. That's bellcopper.net. Participate in that if you're a qualified investor. Go to www.bellcopper.net to get the details on that. It's also in a press release we put out on November 15th. So if you want to be involved in the ramp up on the steepest part of the Lassonde curve for exploration, discovery, and expansion of a mineral resource, Bell Copper is your baby. Best story out there. We are 80% of our peak value after we announced this discovery hole. The market has discounted us massively because of inflation fears. We're at the bottom. Time to get in if you want to take the whole ride up the top of the Lassonde curve. Thank you very much, and come visit us at our website.
I'm Peter Bell. I'm President and CEO of Northwest Copper. This is my 6 minutes or less on Northwest Copper. We are a high-margin copper project with relatively modest capital requirements in a great jurisdiction. We have had fantastic exploration success to date, and we're a pretty new company, having been formed in 2021, and we have a growing exploration pipeline with a bunch of development options. My own background, I'm a geologist with a background in exploration, mine geology, and project evaluation. I spent about 16 years as a working geologist, including 13 with Newmont Mining, so worked kind of all over the world. Then spent 10 years evaluating mining investments for a London-based hedge fund. And finally, 3 years in mining investment banking in Toronto, also doing some due diligence for mining lending. So I've seen a lot of projects. I've been to hundreds of mining projects in my life, and I really think we have an exceptional project here, something that combines a whole bunch of factors that make it kind of the right thing for the environment that we're in. I do think it's a pretty unique time for copper and for a bunch of other metals, though I think copper is something pretty special in the sense that, it's part of the electrification theme. And we know we have new demand for copper, but at the same time, copper is a very mature commodity from an exploration point of view. So, we've been looking for it for thousands of years. We know where the projects are. What we do know is most of the big projects that are out there require a lot of capital. They're complicated. They're deep. They're in challenging jurisdictions or in remote areas, and again require huge amounts of capital. What we're trying to do is put together a project that has production that's big enough to be interesting to investors and strategics potentially, but with relatively modest capital. And that's really the combination of our Quinnica and Stardust projects. So that's our real highlight, our high margin copper project with fairly modest capital requirements. The modest capital comes from the fact that two deposits which sit next to each other will share infrastructure in our proposed plan. And we focus on the high grade part of both of them. So we put the rock with the most metal through a particular size mill, and try and get the most scale out of that. That also reduces disturbance by having one set of infrastructure. Speaking of infrastructure, spending money on infrastructure can chew up a capital budget we have great existing infrastructure. So we have existing roads close to hydropower and close even to rail access. All of those factors, significant existing infrastructure support more modest and manageable capex. We've been working on a PEA for our combined Quinnica Stardust project and expect to put it out to the market fairly soon. Secondly, we've had a lot of exploration success since we started the company. As I mentioned, we're not just doing the development, we're also exploring and looking for growth opportunities. Last year, we had a really interesting discovery within our Quinnica project. We found a brand new high-grade style mineralization within the deposit, one of the highest grade holes ever reported in British Columbia. And again, something new to look for within an existing deposit and provides a potential sweetener for that project. We also last year made a new discovery. We discovered a brand new porphyry copper gold system at our Ace-Newt project. It had been worked up from grassroots exploration through to the drill stage. We put some holes into it last year, including a discovery hole, and we continue to explore it this year. And finally, in terms of exploration, we have our Lorraine project that we've been working on this year. The Lorraine project is a project that's been known for a while, but we've really kind of tried to turn the geologic model on its head and look at it in a different way. It's close to our Quinnica and Stardust projects, so impactful. And we think there are a lot of exploration opportunities on that project, which is a big land package with a lot of prospectivity. So just a note on our news flow, we look forward to updating the market with all of our drill results from 2022. We've only put out about half of them, having started drilling in March of this year. Finally, our exploration pipeline, growing exploration pipeline with development options. So exploration over time, projects or targets get evaluated and either get better or worse. Fortunately, we've been expanding our set of targets since we've been operating the company, exploring. We've got new target types that we've developed at Quinnica, East-Niv, and at Lorraine. As I mentioned, we have the opportunity to test these. We think there are also additional opportunities at Stardust where we've done less work. So next year, the project that we haven't done as much work on so far is Lorraine, and we think we've got a lot of opportunities there. And Lorraine is also potentially the subject of our of incorporation into a Quinnica Stardust proposed plan. So we'll evaluate in 2023 whether it fits in with the other infrastructure and could make some improvements to the Quinnica Stardust project.
Thank you very much for joining, and thanks for the Six for putting this little mixer on. My name is Jason Kosick. I'm the president and CEO of Millennial Precious Metals, which trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange under MPM and on the OTCQB under MLPMF. Today, I'll be giving a 30,000-foot view of Millennial. I encourage anyone to go to the company's website, millennialpreciousmetals.com, to do any more due diligence or to book a meeting with myself. Who we really are in a nutshell and what we're trying to do here, okay, is build a multi-million ounce, multi-asset production company, okay, and focusing on near surface, heap leachable ounces in the best mining jurisdiction in the world. And really, why is that? Is they have the lowest capital intensity, and there's some of the highest margin ounces out there. And operating in Nevada, which is the #1 mining jurisdiction in the world, ranked by the Fraser Institute, in a politically choppy world, people want NAV exposure to safe jurisdictions in which we operate. Really, our flagship assets are Mountain View and Wildcat. They host the 1.2 million ounces of open pit oxide. They will have an updated resource in early 23, followed by a combined PEA in 23. We also have a very exciting drill bit story, which is Red Canyon. It's in the heart of the Battle Mountain Eureka Trend, 35 kilometers south of the Cortez complex. In 2021, we put some of the best holes globally into that system. One of them was in the top 1%. The remainder were in the top 10%. I think one of the things that that separates us from most people is our team has done this 7 times. We've put up over 60 million ounces. Of that, 5 of them are in construction or production today. And that really speaks to our share roster with over 63% institutionally held. Almost 10% of the stock is held by insiders, so a very, very tight float, around 25%. Unlike most companies out there, we have over $8.5 million in the bank, so we're fully financed to execute our 2023 program. Okay. Lastly, from a technical perspective, and I think it's very important that people look at these things. And when you what is that? Is that when you look at open pit projects, everyone thinks that grade is king, and mining is like any other business in the world, and it really just comes down to margin. Margin is king. So how can you look at apples to apples for open pit projects? There's a number of ways to do it. One of them is to do grade divided by the strip ratio. So how much waste rock we have to remove to get to our ore, and when you do that, Millennial has the highest effective open pit oxide project in the best mining jurisdiction in the world. As I mentioned, these are very sought after ounces, okay? So the average on a PNAV consensus basis, average acquisition cost for these ounces is 0.87. Millennial trades at 0.1. Okay. On an EV to ounce basis, the average acquisition cost is around $96. Millennial trades at 16. So there's a significant re-rating opportunity as we add ounces and as we de-risk ounces in the 2023 season. From a news flow perspective, we're going to be putting out a lot of MET results, some more drill results. We'll have the updated resource. We'll have the PEA, which will be the main catalyst. And then once we have our full exploration permit, we'll really show the true resource potential that we have to offer. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Hi everyone, my name is Nicholas Van Dyke and I'm the CFO of one of Canada's leading sustainable resource opportunities, Northisle Copper and Gold. Northisle was founded on the simple premise that the world needs a lot more copper to urbanize, electrify, and decarbonize. You want to own copper because it's the ultimate electrification metal, and you want to own Northisle because what we have is an exceptionally levered opportunity to copper, coupled with a massive gold credit through our camp-scale copper-gold porphyry belt. We're located in BC, one of the most sustainable mining jurisdictions in the world. The North Island project's value can best be illustrated through its robust economics, district-scale potential, sustainable ethos, and excellent leadership, which combined make for a potential billion-dollar exploration and development story trading at a significant discount. The project is underpinned by a preliminary economic assessment completed in 2021 at $3.25 copper and $16.50 gold. It boasts 5 billion pounds of copper equivalent and barely scratches the surface of this district potential. The PEA showed a medium capital intensity project from a copper perspective, generating a $1.1 billion NPV after tax, with a massive gold credit from 100,000 ounces of gold production per year over 22 years and $350 million of free cash flow for the first 10 years of the mine. To demonstrate this leverage, we ran the model using spot prices at the time of the study, and those aren't too far off of today's prices. The NPV jumped to $1.4 billion. For companies like ours, there's tremendous potential for a re-rating, and Northisle is trading at less than 10% of its net asset value, compared to peers who are trading as much as 60% of their net asset value. Put another way, you get a development project at a massive discount and the exploration for free. We're attractive and institutional ready because our project is underpinned by the core development valuation. But unlike many development projects, we have barely scratched the surface on exploration. Our management team also has skin in the game, owning approximately 20% of the project, including our chairman, Dale Corman, most famous for the Peñasquito deposit, and the street has been really supportive with 3 independent analysts covering the company. We also have a significant investor that some of you may have heard of in Michael Gentili, and he owns just under 10% of the company. The project's located on northern Vancouver Island near Port Hardy, BC, and is comprised of more than 34,000 hectares of mineral tenure stretching 50 kilometers northwest from the now closed Island Copper Mine. These activities have defined the North Island and Triport areas for over a century and continue on today. As a result, the region has a legacy of roads, power lines, and infrastructure from the operational days of the mine, as well as the activities that are still going on. There's a wind farm to the north of the project, with the potential for partnership down the line, and a decommissioned port to the south where BHP ship their concentrate, which will prove critically important as we progress the project. All of this, combined with the greenfield exploration potential throughout our tenure, makes for a top-tier package and is yet another reason why our project is so attractive. The North Island project is not only an attractive copper exploration and development opportunity, but is also a long-term player in the green energy revolution. As 2030 and 2050 sustainability goals creep closer and copper demand increases while supply falls, it'll be up to medium and small copper projects like ours to answer the call and fill the nearly 8 million ton deficit that Goldman, S&P, and others are calling for. Robert Friedland recently presented and made a striking statement. We are not going to meet the demand needed to achieve global electrification in the next decade. What I take from that is that the projects that are able to go ahead will be able to take advantage of a metal price environment that's very positive for many years, with the market bidding for supply to meet this huge demand. We view our social license as our number one asset, and we hold our relationships with the rights holders on the North Island in very high regard. We also see this as an opportunity to set our project apart from the many others that will be seeking to advance in the coming years. Finally, we have a capable team with more than 200 years experience collectively exploring, developing, operating, and financing world-class mines in the Americas. For me, the strength of our team was one of the key reasons I joined. We collectively have built and financed dozens of mines, and we bring a senior company mentality to the junior mining space. Why should you invest in Northisle today? We've got a number of catalysts coming up. First, we've got a geophysics program underway right now across our extensive property. We're focused on the Pemberton, Northwest Expo, and Red Dog Goodspeed areas, and we're doing geophysics to help identify drill targets for 2023. Secondly, we've already identified a new area of high-grade gold mineralization at the Northwest Expo target, and we need to do the rest of the drilling to define a resource there in 2023. In addition to our exploration, we've recently started a metallurgical testing program that will allow us to better understand the recoverability of Zone 1 at Northwest Expo, in addition to the Hushima and Red Dog deposits. Finally, we continue to work closely with our First Nations partners on the North Island to build our relationship. We hope to be able to share more with you about this soon. In summary, lots of reasons to get excited about Northisle today. Thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Warwick Smith, and I am the CEO of American Pacific Mining Corp. And this is a recording for the 6IX Investor Conference, which we're very pleased to be a part of. I've been told I can keep this below 6 minutes, but I'm going to keep it significantly below that and just give you the highlights of the company and help you understand who we are. So American Pacific is around a $75 million market cap company with $8.5 million in cash, $3 million of warrants that are well in the money. So we have no need for capital at this time. We're well financed. We have partnerships with Rio Tinto down in Montana on a high-grade skarn with a porphyry underneath. Rio may spend up to $30 million US to earn 70% of that project. They're coming into year 4. They've spent $6.8 million US so far. We also have a partnership up in Alaska on a high-grade VMS. It's 14 million tons. It has a PEA that was filed in 2019. Partnered up there with a company by the name of Dowa Mining and Metals. Dowa Mining and Metals have been around for 100 years. They're based out of Japan. They own the largest smelter out of Japan. That asset and the Montana asset next year will see roughly $30 million US in exploration and development. that is all partner funded. So significant amount of exploration and development next year for the company. We're sitting on a good amount of cash. We have our own assets as well. A past producing silver gold mine just outside of Reno, Nevada called Gooseberry, and then a high grade epithermal system. It's actually the oldest epithermal system in the state of Nevada called Tuscarora. The company is run by myself and my partner, Eric Saderholm, who is the former head of exploration in the Western US in Newmont. Well financially backed by Michael Gentile, who's a large shareholder, as well as numerous funds out of the US, Canada, and Europe. I appreciate your time. I hope you look into the company. If you have questions, please reach out. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Drexler, Vice President of Communications for Strategic Metals Ltd. Strategic Metals is a Yukon-focused project generator and mineral exploration company. We're backed by the Archer Catherine Associates team, who's been involved in the discovery or advancement of many major deposits in the Yukon, including the largest copper and gold deposit and both of the highest grade, greater than 1 million ounce gold deposits in Yukon defined to date. So our current portfolio includes roughly 100 projects that are wholly owned. We also have 13 royalty interests. We have partnerships on 8 of our projects currently, and we're in discussions about a number of other packages of projects. So Strategic focuses on early stage acquisitions of projects that have similar character to nearby deposits. And then we use our on-the-ground expertise to define those deposits and attract partners to perform more advanced exploration. When Strategic vends properties, it often receives cash and shares as payment and always retains a royalty interest. As such, we've been able to grow our portfolio of cash and shares to over 38 million worth of marketable securities and over 3.5 million worth of cash. So that totals over $40 million versus our current market cap of roughly 30 million. The company has 110 million shares outstanding and no debt. Major shareholders include the Sprott Gold Equity Fund, Condor Resource Partners, Ruffer, and management. As the company continues to advance its targets and make new discoveries, we attract additional partners to drill off the deposits that are on our projects. One such target is the Hopper, which is a casino lookalike that is further south in Yukon's Corp belt. Our partner there, Cavu Energy Metals, completed a drill program in 2021 and 2022 as part of their earn-in to get to 70% of that project. Strategic recently reacquired a 100% interest in its Mount Hinton project, which is located directly adjacent to Hecla Mining's Keno Hill mines, which are in the same part of the world as Victoria Gold's recently commissioned Eagle mine. The Mount Hinton is highly prospective for both reduced intrusion-related gold as well as high-grade gold and silver veins. Most recent drilling by Strategic conducted in 2020 returned over 12 meters of nearly 5 grams per ton gold. So it's a very attractive target with over 70 veins identified on the project area. Strategic's portfolio also includes a whole belt of copper porphyry targets that range from the Casino aged plutons that run from Casino down towards Hopper over to much younger targets on the western side of the Denali Fault, which include our Mint project, which boasts preliminary drill results grading over 200 ppb gold over the entire drill length of 320 meters. So we feel like we're on the cusp of some very large discoveries in some of our earlier stage targets. Strategic is able to provide exposure to the new discoveries, or provide our shareholders with exposure to new discoveries through our 100% held projects or through major shareholdings of other companies. Exposure to advanced exploration comes to our major shareholdings. We own over 30% of Broden Mining, which has a partnership with the Ross River Dam Council, and they are looking to redevelop the Faro District in Yukon, which is the home of a number of high-grade lead, zinc, silver deposits. We also have major shareholdings in GGL Resources, which is advancing a high-grade gold system in the Walker Lane of Nevada, and Rockhaven Resources, which has 100% of the Classic Gold Silver project, which is a very high-grade road accessible project in Yukon. More information on Strategic and its shareholdings or various property holdings can be found at www.strategicmetalsltd.com or by calling me, Richard Drexler, at 604-687-2522. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name's Alan Pangborn, and I'm talking to you today for the 6 Mix. And thank you very much for taking your time to listen to this video, and I'll tell you about Chesapeake and why Chesapeake is such an interesting investment. So to start off with, it is a very, very large asset in Mexico. We have over 20 million ounces of gold and 550 million ounces of silver. We took over the company 18 months ago, and we came with a new technology that we're convinced will unlock the value that is tied up in what is a massive world-class asset. We recently released our proof of concept, and that was in our press release in September this year. Prior to that, we also put out a PEA that shows a project with a 31-year mine life and over $1 billion NPV and $750 AISC. Environmentally, the project is also an improvement on the previous project because it uses 90% less water, 90% less power, and there is no tailings dam. So what is this technology, you might ask? Quite simply, it is copper sulfide heap leaching that has been practiced for over 30 years in the copper industry being transferred to the gold industry. It relies on a couple of very simple concepts. Firstly, sulfides don't want to be sulfides. When you expose them to air and water, they naturally oxidize and release the metals that are contained in them and sulfate. What we're doing is we're speeding that process up. The obvious place and size to do it at is you can't wait forever, so you need to crush the rock down without having to grind it so fine and consuming so much energy and water that the alternative processes do today. So that's the first concept. Sulfides don't want to be sulfides, they actually want to release the metals. The second concept is that size is inversely proportional to time. So you can do it very quickly in an autoclave in a matter of hours, or you can take a lot longer in a heap leach, or Millennial if you leave it in the ground and wait for it to oxidize. We've decided to do it at 1/2 inch. That's the most economic size range. It's practical and it's controllable. So as I said, the new technology will unlock this value that's tied up in the Metates project in Mexico. What else can I tell you about it? We're advancing the project. I mentioned the PEA. Recently, we had meetings with the local ejido. It's the first time we've sat down with them to talk about an exploitation agreement. The initial meeting went extremely well, and I'm very happy with the outcome. And we've been invited back to talk to them again after Christmas about what we're intending to do at site. Also met with the recently elected officials in Durango State. They will be there for the next 6 years, so this is the group of officials that we will be dealing with as we move the project forward. What are our next catalysts? Well, when we first started, we drilled some holes, and the first 5 holes showed an 18% increase in grade. We then did another 18 holes, and they also showed a significant increase in grade. So we're now working through why and what the impact will be on our current resource. So we plan to restate our resource and get that out into the public before PDAC next year in February. After that, we put out a proof of concept that shows that we can get to 60% gold and 50% silver, not quite as high as we like. And we're now working on optimizing that process, and we expect towards the end of the year that we'll get the results from that out that will show that not only does the proof of concept work, but what are the parameters we need to get to the numbers that we're looking for to support the PEA. Once we've done that, we'll start the PFS. We've already started pre-work on that. We've restarted the environmental monitoring. So we're monitoring water, air quality, dust, noise, flora and fauna, and all of those things that you normally do. We've also updated all of the all of the topo, and all of that will feed into a PFS in 2024. So in summary, very large asset, 20 million ounces of gold, 550 million ounces of silver, new technology, proof of concept proves it's working, PEA shows that there is a tremendous upside in this process. It is environmentally more friendly, less water, less power, no tailings dam. I invite you all to have a look at our website, and if you want to reach out and have a call, more than happy to oblige. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Hello, my name's Paul Gow. I'm the CEO of Tribeca Resources Corporation, which is a newly TSX-V listed copper explorer. We're based here in Chile, which of course is a premier destination for copper exploration, and indeed is the global leader in terms of copper production. Now, within Chile, we are focused on the coastal IOCG belt, which is an area of about 1,000 kilometres north-south extent in northern Chile and extending up into Peru, which hosts some significant copper-gold deposits. So what IOCG stands for is iron, oxide, copper-gold deposits. It's a class of deposits with some great examples globally. The largest deposit is the Olympic Dam deposit in South Australia, which is owned and operated by BHP, and there they produce copper, gold, silver, uranium, and have elevated rare earth elements in their ore. Another example is from the Carajás district in northern Brazil, and that's Vale's Salobo deposit, which is in production and has recently been expanded. And then the third example is here in the IOCG belt in Chile, and it's Lundin's Candelaria deposit. Now, together with the Española discovery there over the last few years, it's probably inching over about 1 billion tonnes of mineral resource. So these deposits can be pretty big systems and deposits, and indeed the sort of things that these mid-tiers and majors may be wanting in their portfolio. So, Tribeca, why should you be investing in Tribeca? Well, I guess the first thing is our management team, which comprises myself. I'm a geologist, as you can probably tell by my khaki shirt here, and our president is Thomas Schmidt, who comes from an M&A and business background. We both have extensive experience here in Latin America. In fact, we met while we were here, both working for Xstrata Copper and Glencore. So over about the last 4 or 5 years, since 2017, we've been putting together a portfolio of properties in the southern end of the IOCG belt, which we call the La Higuera project. Now, that's the second reason why we think you should be investing in Tribeca is the La Higuera project. It's just over 4,000 hectares, 4,047 exactly, and it's composed of four different properties, and 3 of those are 100% owned, and the other is an option to purchase 100%. So the La Higuera district is about 40 kilometres north of La Serena, which is a significant mining centre, a significant mining infrastructure and workforce there. As well as La Serena, the La Higuera project is only about 10 kilometres from the coast as well, and there are existing ports at Coquimbo and also some proposed by various project proponents along the coast in that area. And also we're working in the longitudinal valley. So the coastal belt consists of the coastal Cordillera, which is a mountain range near the coast, and just behind that you get into the valley, which has some gravel fill, and that's where we're working, and that gravel-filled basin, the longitudinal valley, is actually the host to the main north-south transmission lines in northern Chile. So there's so much infrastructure around, and of course the Pan-American highway runs through that longitudinal valley as well. So I guess what we're hoping is that any discoveries we make will have a relatively low capital intensity. So that's the La Higuera project. So the third reason why we think you should be investing is, I guess, more short term in our current work program. We've only been listed for a month, but we've already hit the ground running. We've completed the ground acquisition of a gravity survey, and we're awaiting the process data from the contractor. And this week we have a crew arriving to complete some ground magnetic surveying. So what we'll do is put the gravity and the magnetic data together, integrate them with the data from the historic drilling and the drilling we're currently doing. So we'll get a much better idea about even more confidence about how we can be targeting the future drilling. But it's the drilling program that's keeping us a bit busiest at the moment. It's a 2,800 metre program, combined reverse circulation, RC and diamond drilling. Proposed 11 holes to about 150 to 300 metres each at 2 targets. One in the north is called Gabby, the target, and there's one in the south is called Chesapeake, which is about 3 or 4 kilometres to the south. So we're actually drilling at Gabby. We're following up some drill intersections from the historic holes. There were 12 of them, and the most northern drill section had a hole that had 285 metres of 0.4% copper and 0.08 grams per tonne gold, plus cobalt credits. So pretty impressive. So we're following that up to the north under thin gravel cover. So there should be plenty of news coming out over the next couple of months from our geophysical and drilling programs. So keep an eye on us, and if you want to learn more, you can go to our website, tribecaresources.com, and there you can hear about our projects, our team, and our strategy. And if you're that way inclined, you can sign up to our mailing list, and you'll get press releases and other news straight to your inbox, hot off the press. Okay, look, thanks for your time today. It's much appreciated. I hope you've learned a bit more about Tribeca Resources. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Scott McLean. I'm the CEO of Transition Metals Corp. We are traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol XTM and have 57 million shares outstanding. We are a mineral exploration company with interest in over 20 projects across Canada. Our key projects include Sunday Lake, a large PGM project near Thunder Bay, Ontario. We have a 25% free carried interest in this project through the feasibility. The best intersection to date includes 41 meters of over 5 grams per ton PGMs. Its sister project, Saturday Night, 16 kilometers along trend, is 100% owned by the company. Only one drill hole has been placed in this property, which returned over 6 meters of 1 gram per ton and half a meter of 4 grams per ton PGMs. The Maud Lake Nickel Project, also in the district near Scriber, Ontario, we believe is a large new magmatic nickel-copper PGM system. Recent drilling by the company included 3 holes, which were released recently. The best intersection was 20 meters of 0.5 nickel equivalent, including about 4 meters of almost 1% nickel equivalent. Our Pike Warden property is also interesting to us. It's a large-scale epithermal porphyry project in south-central Yukon. The project has over 18 mineral occurrences within the project. We recently drilled 3 holes on the ERT project where we had returned 42 meters of over 64 grams per ton silver this summer. And with grab samples over 500 grams per ton. We're anxiously waiting the results of these 3 holes in the near future. Now, like all junior companies, we believe we are undervalued. We also feel that we are demonstrably undervalued. We have hard assets, over $1 million in cash. We have over $4 million in marketable securities. Royalties, 6 royalties, which we valued about $1.5 million, and downstream milestone payments of over $18 million, which we discount to a value of about $2.5 million. Overall, there's a large delta between our market cap of close to $10 million and the value that we put on the company's assets internally, which are closer to $30 million. Going forward, we look forward to seeing the results from our Pike Warden drilling program. We look forward to the borehole EM or borehole geophysical results that will be planned for our Maud Lake project. And we're looking forward to aggressively pursuing the PGM opportunities in the Thunder Bay district. Thank you very much.